Well, that was our week one of What We Gon Do. That was very educational, inspiring. I think that it makes me feel a lot better about what we might be able to do in terms of preparing for the most consequential election in our lifetimes. And I think it's really important to reiterate, which I didn't do a great job of in the initial episode. Yes, the presidency is on the line, and that is animating a lot of excitement and kind of attention. But so much more of our regular lives, our day-to-day existences, are determined by who is on that school board, who is on that election commission, who is on that city council, who is working in our state legislatures and senators, who are our judges, who are our district attorneys, who are our police chiefs and sheriffs. I think that we need to think about all of these positions in terms of our elections and how we can get involved and stay involved on a long-term basis. And that does start at home. Most of what the president does is not affecting our day-to-day lives, our kind of conceptions of what's possible for us. And so I think that we got to make sure that there's not a stupid monster like succubus in there. I don't know how they got up in there, but they got up in there. So we need to make sure they get out. But for the, most of us, we need to keep an eye on what's going on in our backyards and what's at home. And since we can't even leave our backyards, should be easy enough to do. And so I just want to give another shout out and thank you to our wonderful, wonderful guests our inaugural week, Morgan Harper, Robert Avalon, and Teresa Acuna. Keep killing it. You guys are some badasses. I'm so glad to see people of color, young people of color out there killing it and giving us the vocabulary and the representation and the policies that we need to survive and thrive in America. We need a million more like you. So hopefully everyone who tuned in this week learned something, and please follow them. They're on the rise. Yes, it's not just the guests that make this happen or me. It is the team behind this. I like to thank my team, our producer, Allison Joy, the director of photography, the one who kind of makes this all literally happen, Jessa Ciel, Teddy, who is editing every single thing that you've seen, Teddy Lebissier of Caravan Film Crew. Without them, it could not happen. And then, of course, Phil America, who designed our amazing logo and kind of our press materials and all the things that you see that's not a video, he helps direct. And so this is the core team that's made this happen. I couldn't thank them enough. And all of my friends and people out there who heard me with this kind of harebrained idea talking about what we gon' do and encouraged me to make it a real thing. There's too many of you to count. And I just want to make sure you realize that one person who did contribute early on was my friend Isata. We met in Israel, and she's been encouraging me since the trip. Like, you need a channel or you need to create some content. And when I first was quarantined, was like, well, maybe this is the time for this to happen. She kind of helped me get over the hump and really think this is something I could do. So I want to thank her as well. So next week 2. So elections, sayonara. Now we're going to talk about things that maybe happen a little bit more frequently in our lives. Right now, not at all. And that is gathering. So events, the things that make us leave our house, have ceased almost completely, at least on any kind of scale. And so what is that going to look like? What is it going to look like until Corona over? What kind of things are we going to be able to do until then? And how is it going to reshape our idea of large, small, community, massive events? And so I have 3 extremely brilliant people to bring to you who are the masters of bringing us together. The first is Heather White. She's based in Boston, and she is the owner of TrillFit, which is a Boston-based fitness studio kind of oriented towards women of color, people of color. She's going to discuss with that. She's also the head of marketing at Inbound, which is a 26,000 person conference in Boston run by HubSpot. So kind of the community base all the way up to the massive. Damon Turner. He is the founder of a collective called Trap Heals. They do all sorts of brand activations aimed at really healing people, specifically the Black community. He's done a ton of events with Afropunk, Black Lives Matter. Here in LA, he's based, and he's going to talk to us kind of about the importance of healing and events and kind of what we can be doing to prepare for when the world returns, and what kind of spirit we're going to bring to that. And then last but not least, Whitney Richardson. She is the global events manager for the New York Times. She's based in London, and she is amazing. And it's really fascinating to talk to her about some of the strategies and tools that the Times has developed in order to kind of meet the needs of their audience in a time where they can't do live events and when there are so many constraints. And there's also so much need for information and news and community and the type of trusting leadership that I think people look to the Times for. And so it's really interesting to talk to her. So please join us next week for the Art of Gathering with What We Gon Do. I'm Tre Borden, your host. Have a great weekend and see you on Monday.